Good morning, James Chapman.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning.
Man, it's been a heck of a past 2 weeks, man.
Yeah, dude. Things are I don't know about you, but I feel like I am working as hard as I ever have right now.
Yeah. Um, I feel dialed in. I
Mm-hmm.
feel dialed in. But I also have like this dichotomy happening of like I feel like I'm doing the most, but I still feel like I'm so far behind on everything that I'm doing that
Mm-hmm.
it makes me feel like I'm not doing enough, and maybe I'm not doing enough. It's just like it's a fucking hamster wheel.
Well, I just don't feel effective. I feel like I'm doing a
Yes.
lot, but I don't feel effective. It's like I touch everything and push everything, which look, I think this is just a season right now. I'm very thankful all the good stuff that's going on.
Mhm.
I'm experiencing. I feel like I'm right now just at the beginning phases of when people talk about like, oh yeah, I worked 15 years or 20 years and now I'm an overnight success, right?
Mhm.
It's like all that time you've built up all this momentum and now it's just starting to blow up. You're now attracting instead of looking, right?
Yeah.
Stuff's coming to you and you're trying to decipher. That's the phase I feel like I'm in. There's more opportunity in front of me right now than I've ever had.
See, I
But
feel,
it's got me like trying to react. I'm on my heels, man, trying to figure out everything, how to do it. And it's great, but I'm like, I'm not fucking effective right now at all.
yeah, you kind of feel like you're on defense.
Oh, yeah. I'm just trying to
Yeah.
sort through it. And it's like I owe everybody answers instead of people owing me answers, and it's like different and it's cool, but I still got to figure it out. I got to make this work or I'm just chaos.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like where we're at now, like I let two people go over the past 2 weeks. Um, and it's things that I would have let last for a year, like the underperforming.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like I'm dialing in where I should have been last year on a few things. So I'm getting better in the concept of like spotting um underperformers, and I'm getting to the point of like I'm able to spot certain things and like certain um actions that are happening versus words. And so that's been cool to see. I feel like we're doing a lot more inside the community, so we're starting to make some traction there. But the everyday just bow, bow, just punches that you've got to make. I feel like I'm not fooling. I'm not. I feel like I'm pulling punches where I should be punching full strength.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I
Yeah.
feel. So I'm a little bit more on the offense side of things. Just so that's interesting to see where the defense and the offense kind of play in business.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like I'm up against the ropes trying to get stuff done. But it's funny this came up because so I had a meeting Monday with my partners and I was like, "Hey, we got a lot of momentum on stuff. I think we really need to dial in. If not, we're gonna miss opportunities, right?"
Mhm.
So we went up there and then so I called one of my partners today, and it goes back to having good mentors around you. My business partner, he is an absolute mentor to me. I love the guy, and he has been so good for me. And he's got a steady hand in places I don't have a steady hand. Right? He's got experience in areas I don't have experience. I told him, I was like, man, we did this. And I said, we came out of there and there wasn't a lot of action items. And that bothers me. And I feel at fault for that. And I feel like it's because I'm on the defense right now. I'm not just taking hold and just charging forward and being in control of everything. And man, there's something about if you have somebody in your life that's the person who could say, I hear you, I understand, but chill the fuck out. Chill out. It's okay, right? You ever had to do that for one of your people? They like
Yeah.
went into like almost like a panic mode or
Yep.
whatever. And I wasn't freaking out. I wasn't panicking, but he knew what I needed to hear. He
Right.
needed he needed to give me a couple of positives. And he said, bite-sized chunks, man. You're trying to look at the whole thing. Bite-sized chunks. You're moving forward. Chill out. It's good. You know what I did? I said, thanks, man. and I
Yeah.
hung up the phone and I went back to work. And he was right. There's areas I can improve. I need to chill the hell out. I'm not helping anything by just staying on the fact that, oh, I'm not effective. This is too big of an issue. I can't break it down. Slow the fuck down. Go back to the chunks. Continue to break it up. It's like you're untying a big ass knot, and you're halfway through untying it, and you're frustrated.
Yeah.
Stay the course. Like, you're never going to get anywhere if you quit in the middle of it. The fastest way is through it, right?
That's right.
So, if you don't have that in your life, you need that. You need that person that knows you well enough. They know when they can go, hey, you chill the hell out.
Yeah. That steady hand.
Yeah, man. They know when they need to be your steady hand. Most time they need to just let you fly. But every once in a while, you need to check back to reality. I'm very fortunate I have that in my wife, you know. So I have it in different areas with different people, and that's important to be able to have that, where somebody can just say, hey, you're being a bitch. You're just whining. You need to chill the hell out. You got this, that. Like, why are you overthinking this? Why are you doing this to yourself? Right? Like, you need that times. And I think if you have any kind of entrepreneurial spirit in you, that's the other side of the coin. Like, you have this piece that thinks big and has all these crazy ideas, and things are always firing off, but also it can betray you if you're not careful. It can also go all these crazy ideas and firing off at how everything's not working like you want it.
Right.
Good. But section that shit up, take what you can use, take what you can apply. And every once in a while, if you need a reality check, go to that person that can give you that reality check.
Yeah. Well, the one of the books that we talked about last week, Rocket Fuel. So it lays out like different types of people that you need in your company. Like, you need like the brain person who is going to come up with all the ideas. You need the implementer. You need the da 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 da. And from reading that book, I realized very quickly that I'm that guy that you just described. Like, I've got bazillion things happening. And so I had to learn how to be very dialed in on the delegation of what I'm doing, because I can over delegate too many ideas at the same time, where I'm just like bam, 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 and the Trello board will look, ridiculous. And then I've had to figure out, like, Kaylee, right? We spoke about last week. She is an organizer to the T, able to kind of dial in my craziness and put it into order, right? And so that whole concept there is, yeah, you can be that person who has all the ideas and then focuses on just the ones, or you can hire or have somebody on the other swing of that looks at all your ideas and say, okay, well, this is how we need to handle these.
Yeah.
Right. And just being able to have that backup net, very similar to the same person who's saying, like, chill, dude, you got this, one step at a time, left foot, right foot kind of mentality. But
yeah,
it can be a lot, man.
yeah.
Especially
And he was also to bring up, hey, well, look what we did just do. Look what we
yeah.
did just accomplish. Look at these great things. But, I'm firing in so many different areas. I'm just seeing all
Can't
the
even
problems.
hear it.
Yeah. So I couldn't just see that for myself,
Mhm.
So it's good if you can be that for other people. And it's also just important to make sure you have that balance where you got somebody that's doing that for you.
Yeah, because I mean,
crucial.
once you get to once you're at the quote unquote top of the chain, it's hard. Like, if you don't have that person in your life, like that's not in your, maybe not even in your, either in your organization or outside of your organization. It's If it's on your team, it's going to be a little bit harder to kind of, because you want to be able to say, like, no, we can do this, right? Whereas that person may say, like, well, have you thought about maybe taking a month or two before we do this? I'm very guilty of, like, no, we're doing it all now. Like, there's no point in waiting 2 months for this, just because. But if that person is outside my organization, that I see as kind of like, a different concept, or like, not concept, um, that I see as like almost ahead of me, I guess, maybe. I'm a little bit more open to the idea.
Yeah.
Maybe you should wait, 1 or 2 months before you implement another uh, event or something along those
Mm,
lines, right? Whereas I'm so balls to the wall that I've just got to do, like, if I have a problem with incompleteness, and that's the way that I see things. Like, if I have ideas that pop in and I want to do those things, I've got a problem with incompleteness,
mhm.
right? There's a reason why I did my entire leg sleeve in 4 weeks.
Wait a minute. What? You did your what in 4
My leg
weeks?
sleeve,
Oh, I'm
or
following.
like
Oh,
my arm tattoo. It
yeah,
happened
yeah.
in
Yeah.
four
Okay.
weeks.
Sorry, but the way you said that, I heard Lex Leaf, and I was like, "Who the hell? What is Lex Leaf? I don't know
Yeah, I
what
can
that
see that.
is." Um, but I've realized as well, it doesn't matter what your strengths or weaknesses are as far as in leadership. You can never get around the fact or never stop trying to grow in your communication skills. Because at the end of the day, all these problems, all these good things, all these solutions we're trying to drive, all this culture we're trying to drive, if I cannot express it clearly and thoroughly,
Amen.
I cannot have people around me that can execute on that.
Yeah. Everything's got to be clear, concise, and then repeated
Yeah.
so that it's understood.
Yeah.
Right.
The good news is I'm not going to outgrow what I'm trying to do anytime soon.
Right.
Not going to happen.
Yeah.
I got plenty of work to do. It's not going to slow down. I do not have to worry about getting prideful to think I got it all figured out. I do
Yeah.
not.
I saw something the other day is make sure your pride, make sure your confidence doesn't turn to pride or over. I don't know. It doesn't matter. The concept was making sure that just because you've got high confidence in what you're doing or what your abilities are, make sure that it doesn't turn into being too prideful in
Mhm.
what you're doing.
Yeah.
Um, and getting distracted by all the nonsense.
Yeah. The funny thing to me is that every time I deal with a situation, sometimes you need someone to help just provide the clarity. I find it funny that how much of the stuff that applies to me, I'm sitting there giving it's advice I've already given my child in a more simplistic way, right? I tell her, hey, you're doing this, you're doing the same thing, and you're expecting different results, Dylan. There's the old saying of that. And so try something different. Maybe it's not the other person or whatever it is. Even if it is the other person, you keep trying the same thing and expect different results. The world
Right.
doesn't work that way. What am I doing? What am I doing when I hit a wall and I'm getting frustrated? Am I sitting there just applying that same advice back to me and that's palatable enough for my 10-year-old? Like
Right.
it's crazy how our problems are always more complicated and there's not an easy solution when a lot of times there is.
Yeah.
I do like that quote though. I think I've talked about this in a prior podcast, but saw this quote recently. It said the fastest the fastest way is through it. And I remember that so much. Like I said, I think I told this story, but when I joined the military, I went to basic training. I had a career already. Like it was a little, I think I was 23 at the time when I joined. And I got down there to basic, all excited and stuff and went through processing and all that. And I'm actually at where like I'm going to train for the next 16 weeks. And they're walking us around, showing outlining a couple of things. And I look over as we're in this formation. All of a sudden, I have just this thought. I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Why am I down here, man? Like, all these guys are like 18 years old, which when most of the guys are 18 to 19 years old, and you're 23, you feel like the older dude standing there,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's a big age gap at that age. And I look over and I can see this highway off in the distance. And I'm down at Fort Benning, Sand Hill, and I see there's a 4-lane highway off and I can see cars going. I'm like, man, those people are just going about their day. Like what the hell was I thinking? Like, I just signed up for 16 weeks down here and then going to have a military career. Like, well, what am I doing? Like, I had a good career. Like, you start thinking about all that stuff, right? It was just running through my head. And at that time, since I was dazed out, drill sergeant, like, literally was like, just started screaming at me, like, what am I staring at? Because I wasn't paying attention to him. He was talking. And so I was the first guy to get smoked in the whole, on the whole, on that whole, that platoon. Out of my platoon, I was the first guy to just get absolute just dog shit smoked out of me right there in front of everybody. But I remember going, all right, I'm here. And immediately there was guys who realized they made mistakes. Like there was some guys that, played way too much Call of Duty and now they didn't join the infantry and they're basic, right? So they were like sick call warriors, man. They were at sick call every day, just trying to get out stuff. And I remember looking at those guys like, they'll be here. They were still there. Some still trying to process when I was done. They were still stuck at that place. And I remember thinking like, the fastest way is through it.
Yeah.
Just reach down, grab your balls and get through it and get through the process. That's the quickest way you're going to come out on the other side. In everything. Just push through it. Be smart. Keep your head up. Do things a little smarter if you can, but get through it. You're in the middle of the river. You're not turning back. You need to push on through. You need to get through the process, get through whatever's going on. And if it's moving fast enough, just get the hell through it. Analyze it after the fact. How you make sure that doesn't happen again,
Yeah, that makes so much more sense. I mean, again, talking about making things, simple and simplistic in the way that you talk to yourself and the way that you go through things. A lot of times, you're in the picture, things get a little bit more complicated. You've seen that now that you have a coach a lot more. Being able to have him look at you and say, look, the concept that you're thinking about is actually a lot easier if you just pull back. And I think that's where, Jocko's whole thing with the detachment is key, but also just going through the process, right? And whatever it is, just go, because everybody gets so caught up in all these other things where, even here, the easiest process to go from not having any business to having business is talking to people. And what is the easiest way to talk to somebody? Call them up.
Yeah.
Right. You're going to get more done and things a lot faster if you just pick up the phone, whereas so many people have a hard time getting to the point of picking up the actual phone. Right.
Yeah.
Because there's so much behind that, right, that we let ourselves in our brains, where you could go talk to somebody in person and not have a problem. But how many people do you have to, how many events would you have to go to talk to the amount of people that you call on the phone?
Oh, a lot. I mean, it's what, 10 to 1?
Easy.
Yeah.
So it's that same concept.
Amount of time consumed, amount of time and energy consumed, 10 to 1, easy. Yeah.
Easy. And so it's like the concept behind it is just start and just go through it. I promise you, on the other end of that conversation or whatever it might be, things are going to be a lot better. But the moment you keep crying about the fact that you can't get on the phones, it's going to take you so much longer to get to the end of it, right?
Yeah.
Just bringing it back to sales.
Yeah.
The more fucking things that you can do, the faster you're going to get to where you need to be.
Yeah.
Hey, man, tie a bow on it, James.
That's it.
Oh, I almost forgot about our sponsors. I hope you don't. Guys, if you if you haven't checked out Jocko Fuel or Origin USA, you need to. You guys have been slacking. Our code is not being used, and therefore I'm able to see that you guys don't care about America as much as I do. And that's a problem. Because America loves you, you should love them, and you should support companies that love America as well. So Jocko Fuel and Origin USA, those are the ones that you want to support, because they're going to bring American jobs to America, and they're going to keep doing it as long as you keep buying their stuff. It's as simple as that. It's called supply and demand, baby.
Yeah.
And
I
with that
like it.
being said, when you do get there and you get all your goodies and you're so excited to check out, put in the code GRIND10 GRIND 10 at the top, and it's gonna save you a solid 10% off. So your $100 just became 90, baby. With that being said,
I want to add a little piece to that, Addison.
do it.
To that actually goes right in line with our conversation. It's not so much that it's made in America. I like to think, right? I take pride in America. I like to think made in America means quality. But it goes back to that saying, hey, there used to be something, we want a company. Jocko's like, hey, we're going to do a clothing company. Well, there's everything, all the infrastructure there. Just get you some contracts. It comes over from overseas, from just Chinese made, and then you relabel it, whatever, put your label on it, you're good to go. He went back and said, okay, we're going to start it from scratch to make it quality made. And that goes right in line with the conversation. Would it have been easier to look at the other part? No, he just started and went through it. That's it. And now he's got something he can hang his hat on and take extreme pride in because of the quality of the product. That's what it's about.
Hey,
Grinder out.